If we could, come on up and fill up these seats. A lot of good Baptists in the audience, I see, because we've got everybody in the back, but come on up and fill these seats up. And speaking of good Baptists, what a day the Lord has given us today. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Could we have had a better day than what we have today to dedicate such a beautiful garden? Good morning. Good morning. On a scale of 1 to 10, that was about a 3.5. We've got some of our most precious resources in the entire community up here in the front row. Let's show them who we are in Gainesville, Hall County. Good morning. Good morning. You hear that, guys? Our friends can really get excited about things. You know, I'm not big on using notes when I speak, but it is such a special occasion today that I thought, when Kathy Lovett tells me to say a few words, I better write them down so I don't get them wrong. So many special guests here this morning. And one of the challenges of starting to recognize special guests in a crowd like this is everybody here is special this morning. I've had the opportunity over the last several years, as a matter of fact since 2007, to look out second-story windows, first of all at Gardens on Green as it came to be, and for the last couple of months I looked out the window on this side of the building, and I see so many faces out here that have had such a big part in making these gardens a reality. So I'm not going to make the mistake of beginning to point out special people, with the exception of, it's not every day that the First Lady of your state agrees that it is a special occasion and joins us. So would you welcome First Lady Sandra Deal. Thank you for being here this morning. Kathy, when you asked me to MC this program today, I will take some personal privilege a little later to recognize a couple of special folks who have been the driving force behind these two gardens. But that's a little later in the program. Because today is not about heaping praise on special people. My goodness, we've got a garden full of them this morning. But it is an opportunity for us to celebrate the power of the human spirit, the power of our dreams that with enough elbow grease and with enough vision will be turned into reality. And the potential, as I look into these eyes on the front two rows, of every community and our community's most precious resource, our boys and girls. You know, we're going to nurture you youngsters. We're going to love you. We're going to watch you grow into the leaders of tomorrow. And I pray that this special place that we dedicate today becomes a place that for generations young minds can come and develop and learn and read. You know, there's an old Oak Ridge Boys song, and I'm not going to begin to embarrass myself and put you through the pain of me singing, but it said the nearest thing to heaven is a child. And I remember as a fairly young boy, yes, I can remember that, Mr. Barton, when I was a young boy, hearing that song and actually coming to tears with the line that talked about, Daddy, how does this thing fly? And 100 other wheres and why. And I really don't know, but I'll try. Thank God. Thank my God for kids. That's what today is about. You know, I believe it was Plato who suggested that minds come into this world as a blank slate. And that through experiences and through positives and negatives, through arms around a shoulder, through stories told, those blank slates begin to become etched. And those blank slates turn into little folks who grow into bigger folks and turn out to be the leaders of tomorrow. At a time when I look around this nation and I sometimes shake my head, I have to remember that there's still a lot of good in this world. And that those of us who believe that there's a lot of good in this world need to spend time pouring into spaces such as this. where those young blank slates can come and be etched and be nurtured and be loved and turn into the kind of good and right and noble and true adults and leaders of tomorrow that we all dream and hope and pray for. This literacy garden, some people are going to make the mistake. And by the way, Dr. Krill, I'm so glad you're here today, because some of you that grew up in this community can remember a time when there was a them and an us. But when we think of our boys and girls, you know, it really doesn't matter if they're city schooled or private schooled or county schooled or homeschooled. Have we not gotten to the point where they are our boys and girls? And this park is dedicated today to the young people of the city and the county and the homeschoolers and the private schoolers. It was Lincoln who was told that when he died that he belonged to the ages. This garden belongs to the ages and belongs to the future generations of all children in Hall County. And what an honor it is to dedicate it today. Katie Deal was going to be here and sing a song for us. She was detained and won't be able to do that, and so you're very fortunate, because I'm going to sing that song. I just kidding. Actually, Wanda Creel could have sung that song, and had I given her 30 seconds notice, she would have been glad to come up here and do it. But I can't thank you enough for being here today. What an incredible occasion. I think what this is going to turn out to be is one of the favorite stops of grandparents in the community when their youngsters are visiting. And I hope you will take the time today. My old friend Gus Whalen always called it being in the moment. And I know we all have 20 places that we need to be today. But let me challenge you to take a few minutes after the program to walk around and take a look at these stations. We've got individuals over here to my right that are up on Jack and Jill's Hill. We've got a bridge over here that 3 of these youngsters and I actually saw the troll peeking his head out from underneath the bridge when the clip-clop of Billy Goat's Gruff happened. We've got Mr. McGregor's garden in the back. But this is indeed an incredible gift to this community, an interactive celebration of the gift of literacy. How fortunate we are to live in a place like Gainesville, Hall County, where a space like this can become a reality. Thank you for being here today. And now if I could call to the stage Ms. Robin Friedman, Master Gardener Coordinator from the Hall County Extension Agency, and is going to give us some words about nature and about children. Welcome.
I can't come after you. Thank you for those words. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It was about a 4.3. Good morning. Good morning. What a joyous occasion, and I am so honored to be here. On behalf of the Cooperative Extension and on behalf of the Hall County Master Gardeners, I warmly welcome you to this habitat. Yes, a habitat where literacy and nature and magic coexist. I have the privilege of working with a group of Master Gardeners who are dedicated in sharing their expertise with their community. If you are a Master Gardener in Hall County, would you please raise your hand or stand up? Have a look around at all the Master Gardeners. There are 172 in Hall County, and many of them have touched this literacy garden and Gardens on Green. Master Gardeners are trained volunteers who serve the needs of the communities by providing research-based education, horticultural information to the public. Hall County Master Gardeners have been instrumental in the implementation of one person's vision, a literacy garden for our youngest children. What better place than a garden for our youngest children? Why is the marriage of nature and childhood essential for our planet? Yes, it's critical. Nature comes from the Latin word nasi, meaning to be born. Nature includes everything that is living. Children are born naturalists. They explore the world with all of their senses, experiment in their environment, and communicate their discoveries to all around them. The natural world fosters empathy and wonder. As children observe, reflect, record, and share nature patterns and rhythms, they are participating in a process that promotes scientific and ecological awareness, problem solving, and creativity. Thomas Berry wrote in The Dream of the Earth, teaching children about the natural world should be seen as one of the most important events in their lives. The Literacy Garden is intended not only to meet children's needs for outdoor play and to create a space for the caregivers to collaborate with learners, but to expose them to elements which are critical for language and literature acquisition so they can have their own stories. I'm a child development specialist, an advocate, an educator for 40 years. I first trained in Montessori. Some of you may know Maria Montessori was in Rome with the poorest of the children. She is well known for her belief in children needing to explore their natural world. Maria Montessori, in her book, Education for a New World, wrote, "Scientific observation then has established that education is not what the teacher gives. Education is a natural process spontaneously carried out by the human individual, acquired not by just listening to words, but by experiences upon their environment." I have spent significant time around the world observing, working with young children in nature. I can personally attest to regular and sustained exposure to the natural world. Those essential connections provide our youngest children the building blocks needed to become problem solvers, solutionaries, establishing a better sense of self and their place in our world. Children who have sustained time exploring nature come to love it. What we love, we want to protect and care for. I firmly believe the future of our planet is in providing our youngest children a connection with the natural world. As they will become planet stewards, they will want to protect what they know and what they love. This garden is a place for calm, natural exploration. Gainesville is most fortunate to have Kathy Lovett's vision come to life. A committed school district, master gardeners, donors, citizens who believe in a child's sense of place in the world. I'm excited about the possibilities that lie ahead. Thank you.
Master gardeners, Kathy, you already know this, but it's a good time to confess I'm not a master gardener. But I was a 7th generation dairyman's son, so if you need 100 acres of corn or 40 acres of alfalfa grown, I'm your man. But I have learned that my mother was a master gardener and has been a master gardener. She's 81 years old and she wished she could be here today. Speaking of master gardeners that indeed are masters, where's Rose Barton? Because she's going to give us, not only is Rose a master gardener, she and her husband, they were master teachers, they continue to be master educators, and most importantly they are master human beings. And Rose Barton is going to give us some words of commitment to this garden. Rose?
There's a lot of you out here and I know about half of you, so that's good. As an educator and as a master gardener, the Gardens on Green is the perfect place for me to volunteer. It provides an opportunity for me to share my love of gardening and nature with the children. It's all about the children, I know. It is a perfect day here on a day that we have a chrysalis emerge or possibly a butterfly to come out, because the children's faces just are beaming with awe, as was Kathy's last year when she saw her first butterfly emerge from a chrysalis. So the Literacy Garden is an extension of the Gardens on Green on the other side. And it's for younger children. It's you guys right here. It's in a place that enchantment will happen. I believe Eden said it best. Oh, it's enchanted. And it's going to be a great place for them to experience nature, literacy, and use their imaginations. This is truly a place where children can read, discover, and grow. Bye.
Ms. Jennifer White was good enough to bring us her kindergarten class from Martin Technology School this morning, and we're so glad to have these beautiful youngsters here with us. And also across the street, First Baptist Church was good enough to lend us Mr. Bruce Fields. And so this is part of our program that's going to get to be a little fun. Baptists can dance. If you want to stand up and dance to these youngsters singing, feel free to do so. But would you welcome Bruce Fields and his new group, the Martin kindergarten students.
Oh, what a thrill to sing with these children. We're going to sing an appropriate song. It happens to be called the Garden Song. And I asked the children, I said, how long have you all been rehearsing this song? Because they're going to help me on the chorus. They said 3 weeks. And I said, you know, I've been singing this song for 40 years. And they looked at me like, my goodness, you are old, old, old. But we had a good time rehearsing. And I wanted you to know that Dave Mallett wrote the song. He was inspired because he had memories of being in the garden with his daddy when he was a little boy, barefoot. And he enjoyed it so much, and I can relate to that. And then as he grew into a teenager, he remembered not wanting to be in the garden because he was forced to pull weeds, and I can relate to that as well. But later, when he became a parent and his children were with him in the garden learning to grow things, that's when it was full circle. And that was the inspiration to this song, the Garden Song. All right, boys and girls, are you in good voice? All right, here we go. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Pulling weeds and picking stones, man is made of dreams and bones. Feel the need to grow my own, 'cause the time is close at hand. Grain for grain, sun and rain, find my way in nature's chain. Tune my body and my brain to the music of the land. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Plant your rows straight and long, temper them with prayer and song. Mother Earth will make you strong if you give her love and care. Old crow watching hungry in yonder tree. In my garden I'm as free as that feathered thief up there. Okay, boys and girls. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a feast of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below, till the rain comes tumbling down. Till the rain comes tumbling down. One more time. Till the rain comes tumbling down.
We may need to cut a CD. That was pretty good. So you guys are amazing. Lee told me about 15 minutes ago, he said, Will, he said, you're going to introduce Ms. Deal. And I said, well, I'll be glad to do that. I said, but it's not going to be the traditional introduction. Sandra, you get introduced all over the place, as does Nathan. But many people don't know it, but I know Sandra and Nathan as the best neighbors that we ever had. We live next door to each other. I can still remember when Nathan told me he was going to run for governor 7 or 8 years ago. And after I picked my jaw up off the ground, I said, well, he and Jason were together with me. I said, just so you know, if you run, you're going to win. I said, and I have really mixed emotions about that, because we'll lose the best neighbor that we've ever had. Well, it was several weeks later, and he was going out on the campaign trail, and my phone rang, and I looked at my cell phone, and it was Nathan Deal. I said, yep, needs some advice from his old buddy. And I said, hello, Nathan. He said, Will, we're going out on the campaign trail tomorrow and I need your help. I said, yes, sir. What is it? He said, will you feed the cats while I'm gone? So my claim to fame of helping elect the Deals to West Paces Ferry was I only lost 1 out of 2 cats and that was my cat that went over there and ate their food all the time. So that really was not losing their cat. I do remember after the election, Sandra and I don't even remember where we were sitting, maybe on the front porch, and she said, you know, Will, I need something, these are giving people, I need something to be a focus over the next few years, how we can help move Georgia forward. Nathan will have his hands full, he'll be involved in everything, but I want to think of something that speaks to my heart, something that is a desperate need in the state of Georgia. She said, what do you think? And I said, well, more importantly, what do you think? She said, literacy. She said, what could be more important than young people being given and having the gift of knowing how to read? I said, well, that was a short conversation. I don't think you need much help from me. She has read, and Sandra, you correct me if I'm wrong, in every school district in the state of Georgia. She has been such a crusader for the rights of the next generation. This is a teacher that has never stopped teaching. And more importantly, she's my neighbor, she's my friend, she's the essence of decency. Would you welcome First Lady, Miss Sandra Deal.
Well, today I chose a book to read that is talking about friendship as well as imaginative characters, and they come right from where you might find them in a garden. And the name of this book is The Strange Journey of Byron and Cyrus by Sandy Meyer. And you know, I just got this book yesterday, and so I practiced a little, and I hope you'll like it. Byron and Cyrus, a most unusual pair, were simply the oddest two you'd find anywhere. Though altogether quite different, they found common ground on a very strange journey through the woods in the round. You see, Byron the caterpillar, a green-eyed, agreeable fellow, had more legs than he needed and antennas bright yellow. His black and gold patches made him easily seen by old nasty red Robin, who was always hungry, it seemed. Cyrus the spider, with no distinguishing mark, had 8 eyes and 8 legs that let him move through the dark. He would carry his lasso upside down, he would float, and could weave it like magic and never run out of rope. Their adventure began on a bright sunny day in the woods in a roundabout way. It seems Byron had stopped on a leaf for a bite when he happened to see a most curious sight. There was Cyrus the spider, with lasso in hand, busily building something simple yet grand. Between the tree branches he had fashioned his line, back and forth and back, in a circle design. "What's that for?" Byron asked as he inched closer still. "Best be careful," said Cyrus. Byron answered, "Oh, I will." "It's my web," Cyrus said with a mischievous grin, "and it catches my breakfast, among other things." "I am just on my way to the top of the tree," Byron said. "Would you care to come journey with me?" Cyrus answered, "Okay, just as long as we're back from my mid-morning airmail delivery snack." So together they set out for the top of the mount, between them more legs than you ever could count. Then halfway up, Cyrus paused. "Byron, listen to me. Why in the woods must we go to the top of the tree?" Byron answered the question the best way he knew. He could feel a change coming and something wonderfully new. Somehow it would happen, but he wasn't sure when. Then Byron and Cyrus started climbing again. Through the leaves they could see the blue sky up above. They were getting so close. Only one final shove. Then all of a sudden they stared right in the beak of Reb Robin, and they nearly let out with a shriek. "Stand still," Cyrus whispered. "He can only see me." Then he started to build his web in the tree. "Hello, Mr. Robin. I'm just catching a bug. Would you care to dine with me?" Cyrus said with a shrug. "I could swear I smelled caterpillar," said Reb with a frown. "It's lunchtime. I'm hungry. Have you seen one around?" "Why, no," Cyrus answered. "See one? Not me." And he winked down at Byron, camouflaged by the tree. Cyrus, twirling his lasso, kept on building his web. Back and forth and back, just ignoring old Reb. Looking puzzled, Reb turned to fly off in the breeze when, as fortune would have it, Byron let out a sneeze. Reb turned, spotting Byron, though through Cyrus' web, and he reached out to grab him, but got tangled instead. Reb flew off in an instant, web and Cyrus and all, and disappeared in the sky to Byron's unanswered call. Byron the caterpillar felt sad and alone. He had lost his friend Cyrus, and he couldn't get home. He held on to the treetop, and he cried and he cried. How he wished he could fly to poor Cyrus' side. Then the strangest thing happened. As a light brightly shone, Byron the caterpillar weaved a web of his own. In a moment he he'd spun himself into a room, and he knew right away he had built a cocoon. In what seemed like an instant, he had somehow been changed. He felt different, much lighter, no longer so strange. With a flash and a fury, he burst out through a scene, the most beautiful butterfly you could ever have seen. Isn't he pretty? Up and up and up higher, he fluttered and flew on the wind and the clouds through the sky bright and blue. Then spinning and swirling and straight down towards the ground, like a streak through the sky to the woods in the round. Byron searched, and he searched all that day for his friend who had most bravely saved him from a most certain end. Flying high, flying low as the sun slowly set, he was nearly exhausted. Should he rest? No, not yet. Then below he saw Reb perched atop a tall tree, and poor Cyrus, all tangled, still couldn't get free. With a whoosh and a whisper, Byron swooped down again. Before Reb knew what happened, he held hold of his friend. With Cyrus the spider now tucked gently beneath, Byron fluttered away through the air like a thief. Through the woods and the round he flew on for an hour, coming safely to rest on a giant sunflower. "I don't know who you are," Cyrus said with dismay, "but your unselfish deed I just cannot repay." Byron laughed and he winked, his identity hid. "My dearest brave Cyrus, you already did." When Cyrus saw his antennas, a smile came to his face. "Is that you, Caterpillar?" Byron nodded with grace. "How on earth did this happen? I don't know what to say." But before he could answer, something scooped them away. They were jostled and tumbled and surprised as you get when trapped in a little boy's butterfly net. "Look what I caught," he said to Cassius, his cat. A monarch and a spider. Can you imagine that? Cassius peeked through the net, purring, oh joy of joys, that his master would capture such excellent toys. Then the boy said to Cassius, "They're our special playthings." And he reached in for Byron, grabbing hold of his wings. "Excuse me," said Cyrus. The boy blinked with surprise. "I'm Cyrus the spider, and you appear to be wise. I will build you a toy, anything that you say. Let the butterfly go. I'll make it here, right away." "Anything?" asked the boy as he smiled with delight. "I know," the boy shouted. "Build me a great kite." "A great kite?" answered Cyrus. "No problem, stand back." The boy let go of Byron and picked up his cap. Byron flew off at once to find sticks for the mast. As a weaver, he knew his friend was unsurpassed. Then the boy and his cat watched with wondrous eyes as Cyrus began weaving a kite of great size. Back and forth and back in a diamond design. With the skill of a drummer, Cyrus kept perfect time. When he'd finished his fabric, not a thing could compare. It was lace of the angels. It was lighter than air. Byron added the sticks and they fashioned a tail. a few knots and a twist, almost ready to sail. It won't fly, Cyrus said. One more thing is a must. Just a sprinkle of Byron's butterfly dust. As Byron fluttered above it, his dust gently fell, and it covered the kite and the tail just as well. Then like magic it rose from the ground where it lay, and the boy shouted out, "Hey, it's getting away!" Cyrus twirled his lasso up over his head, took great aim, and let go with his silvery thread. When the rope hit its mark, the kite shone like a star, and he handed the rope to the boy. "There you are." Higher and higher it soared through the trees, through the air, through the clouds on a magical breeze. "Oh, thank you so," said the boy. Then, as if from a dream, an amazing thing happened no one ever had seen. Thousands of monarchs flew up from the ground. They circled the kite above the woods and the round. They're flapping their wings in one final sensation. They gave Byron and Cyrus a standing ovation. Cyrus climbed onto Byron, Cassius purring goodbye. The boy sadly waved as they rose in the sky. Then they circled the kite and disappeared in the sun. They were friends ever after. Their journey was done. And that's the end of the book. And maybe in this garden you will find spiders, and you'll see butterflies, and you'll see the caterpillars that hatch from that make the butterflies. And you'll have opportunities to learn about all of these insects and animals and how they work together. And you can develop your imagination, because this is a place to love the outdoors and to have a great time learning and imagining and playing with your friends. So thank you for letting me come and read.
And as a special surprise, we do have Katie here. Katie Deal going to sing for us, and it's What a Wonderful World, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to... How's that?
Well, I apologize for the reorder of the program. I almost didn't make it here today. But I'm here, and I'm glad to be here. This is a special event for me as well, because we did a concert for Kathy and Lee not long ago to raise money for this garden. So I'm thrilled that Kathy asked me last week to be here. All right. I see trees of green, red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see clouds of skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day in the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow are so pretty in the sky, and also are the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. It's now time when I promised we would be recognizing a couple of very special people. I guess I've been here 12 years and have seen a lot of change in Gainesville, Hall County, seen a lot of change in the Hall County School District. One of the constants has been the individual who's stood behind me and been kind enough to tell me when I'm crazy and come in and shut the door when he thought I was wrong, and always been there, and that's Mr. Lee Lovett, a deputy superintendent. His wife, Kathy, is also one that when she comes to see me, I know something's going on. I think it was 2007, Kathy, and you have to tell me if the year is wrong, but I am not a person that notices details. And I was sitting in my office in 2007, and Lee and Kathy came in, and Kathy said, "Have you got just a minute?" Now, those of you that know Kathy know what I said. I said, "That's a lie. This is not a minute, but I always have time for you. Come on in." And Kathy came in, and I'll have to paraphrase at this point, but what she basically said was, "Will, when we walk into this office from the parking lot, it looks like a dump. You got overgrown shrubs and things that don't grow, and nobody's taking care of it. Doesn't that bother you?" And I lied. I said, "Really bothers me." So I think it's, but I did have to agree with her. It did not look like the entrance of what ought to be the center of the Hall County School District representing our 30,000 students. I thought she was going to say we should plant some shrubs, put in a few flowers. She said, "I have an idea. Why don't we make the most beautiful park/garden in all of Hall County right next to the Hall County Board of Education?" And I said, "Where are you going to put it?" And she said, "Look out your window there on the opposite side of this building." I said, "Kathy," I said, "that's a jungle out there." And she basically said, "I don't see a jungle. What I see, what I envision, is the most beautiful park/garden in Hall County." I said, "How are you going to do that?" She said, "I got friends in high places. I know the master gardeners, and they're willing to throw in with me, and I think we can transform that into an intergenerational learning space and open it up to this community." It sounded like a beautiful idea. In my line of work, when you start to get the amount of gray hair that I have, you meet a lot of dreamers. And most dreams that aren't followed through with some action turn out to be little more than a hallucination. Kathy Lovett's not like that. I said, if this woman is telling me this is going to be the most beautiful garden in Hall County and we're going to get to claim it right here at our board office, what a wonderful thing. And I think everyone in this audience has been on the other side of this building, but I can only tell you that one of the greatest joys that Charlene Young and I get is to be able to look out the window on almost any given day and see parents and grandparents and master gardeners and boys and girls learning beside each other in the Gardens on Green. Fast forward to about a year ago, sitting at my office, big, fat, dumb, and happy, minding my own business, and Kathy and Lee Lovett come in. You'll never guess what Kathy said. "Have you got a minute?" I said, "Oh, yes, ma'am. Come on in." She said, "The other side of this building," and I said, "Oh, my." She said, "Got an idea." I said, "Kathy, you and your friends have already built the most beautiful park in Gainesville. What more could you possibly do?" And she threw out a term that I'd never heard before. She said, "a literacy garden." A place that youngsters and their parents or their grandparents or their classes can come and they can learn to love the gift of literacy. Now, I'm not an artistic person, so I'm thinking a literacy garden. Sounds pretty hokey to me. I don't know how you make a literacy garden, but I said, Kathy, if you're dreaming it, it's got to be beautiful. Absolutely. Well, it was about a month ago, Mr. Barton. I didn't have the guts to come over here, and I felt the building shaking all the time as machinery was over here and trees were coming down and changes were being made. But about a month ago, I finally came to one of these second floor windows and looked out this side, and I thought, oh my goodness, what have I agreed to? It looked like a lunar landing pad. And I said, I'm going to get fired over this. My Board of Education is going to walk out there. And so, to be honest with you, I just didn't come to that side of the building for a week or two. A couple weeks ago, I started coming out here at night after everybody was gone, and I said, this is taking some shape. About 10 days ago, I spent an hour or so out here in the evening, and I said, Kathy Lovett is onto something. This is really something. And this weekend, as I came up here and wandered through this garden, all I could say was, Kathy and Lee and their friends have done it again. I have never seen anything like that. Kathy Lovett, Lee Lovett, not only are you friends, not only are you individuals who are willing to plant trees that you'll never enjoy the shade of, you speak to the spirit of this community. I've lived in a lot of places. And if you live in Gainesville, Hall County, you ought to get on your knees and give thanks to God, because this is one of the most giving communities I've ever lived in my entire life. And it is exemplified by people like Kathy and Lee Lovett. Would you join me in thanking and in welcoming our friends, the Lovetts?
All right, I'll be very brief, and I'm sure you're not surprised at that. People that get emails from me, it's yes, no, or I'll call you back, whatever. But anyway, I'm going to take a few moments to say some thanks. First of all, I've been in the education business 52 and a half years. I'm not going to be in it much longer, but I've been in it a long time. I've worked for a lot of superintendents. I've worked for a lot of board members. Many superintendents would have thrown us out of the office when we suggested tearing everything up, and many board members would have thrown the superintendent out if he'd agreed to it. But I want to thank the most creative superintendent that I've ever known, and I think most of you have ever known, for allowing us to do this. I also see Mr. Sam Chapman out in the office, Mr. Craig Harrington. Are there any other board members out there? I think those are the only two today. I want to thank this Board of Education for their support. They are very creative also, and they are very supportive of the administration. And we do appreciate that very much. Of course, an idea is written down on paper, and you look at it, and we had a drawing, but you know, we're not architects and we're not engineers, but we have former students around that are in high places in construction. One of those is Tommy Wiley, who is not here today. His wife Debbie is. Tommy, my wife taught him at North Hall many years ago. He helped us tremendously up with Gardens on Green, and we called him over. What I called him over was to help me get a plan on paper and to get someone to build this. Well, he solicited donors for the brickwork up there on the front, and he then got Maggie McDowell, who is here. Maggie, where are you? Maggie is a young architect. She works for Carroll Daniel Construction. She drew some plans, and they were going to get someone to build these two buildings in Jack and Jill's Hill, which wound up being more complicated because when we built the hill, we realized somebody had fallen off of it, so we had to put the railing up there then. But they're supposed to tumble off but not fall off. Anyway, Tommy was going to get someone to build it, but everybody was so busy, they said they couldn't get to it. So Tommy sent some folks over, and Cal Daniel, I don't know what we owe them, but we owe them for some materials and some labor, but they also were very generous with their time. They have constructed these, so we wouldn't have this if it weren't for Tommy Wiley and Maggie, and most of all, Brian Daniel. Where are you, Brian? Of Cal Daniel Construction Company. Thank you very much. We appreciate what you've done. Also, I want to mention a young man, William McClure. William, raise your hand. William is a building superintendent, a construction superintendent with Cal Daniel, and he's been by here almost every day to do little tedious jobs that we didn't know how to do and to supervise, and he's gotten this job done. William, I think the truth of the matter is William enjoys building ferry houses and things more than he does school buildings, but anyway, we are pleased to have had him, a very fine young man, and he's done a very wonderful job. His dad owns Captain D's, so he has graduated from managing a Captain D's to building literacy garden. So we're very pleased that he was able to do that. Another group I'd like to thank is the Chattahoochee Landscape Group and the brick masons who did the work here. I also want to thank support staff of the Hall County school system, that the couriers and a couple of maintenance men that came by and helped me with a couple of things that I didn't have any volunteers to do on a particular day. The North Hall High School Art Honor Society, who did painting all the rocks and everything for us, and then the Johnson High School folks who built the tables and the bridge, and the construction people there. And last night, during the night, Chestatee High School delivered the 3 little rocking chairs up on the front porch over there that the art teacher out there done. So we've been very blessed, and we appreciate what all of you have done. And my wife will say more words of thanks. And unfortunately, it will probably not be quite as quick as that was.
My heart is so full of gratitude. I cannot begin to convey that to you. For those of you who have not heard me speak recently, up front, I have to apologize for this shaky voice. I sound like one of my previous nerve hooks 7th graders, don't I? But I used to think it was little ladies who sounded like this, but obviously that is not the case. The doctor calls it essential tremors. I call them very non-essential tremors. Nonetheless, I'm just so overwhelmed. 2 summers ago, 2015, while I was doing chemo treatments following or in the midst of colon cancer, when I couldn't do much physically, I turned my attention to this area. I had long wanted us to do something here, and with lots of time to think, I developed these plans. Will's memory did fail him a little. We actually didn't come to his office. We invited him out to our house for a simple lunch. I thought if we fed him well, he might be more receptive. Of course, Lee did the cooking. He approved it. As he just said, during the past few weeks, I know he thought what is that crazy woman doing? There was lots of mud out here. It was my vision, but it is you who have made it happen. If you have contributed in any way, money, volunteer hours, helping in any way, raise your hand, please. Look at all these folks. I'm so grateful to Master Gardeners. We have a steering committee of almost 20 people that guides the planning, planting, and programming of Gardens on Green. Since 2007 until this, we have developed 6 gardens. Vegetable garden, pollinator, native conifer, garden of winters, and a deer resistant. This is our 7th one, and I emphasize that to say that this is the 7th garden of Gardens on Green. It is not something that is separate. Our goal is for it to be a magical place where you cute little children can come, read, discover, and grow. The garden will be open to the public, as is true for the rest of the gardens, during daylight hours for anyone to come, with the exception of days when we schedule classes to come. And we are still in the midst of determining when those days will be. As you came in, you were given a volunteer form. We keep growing through the generosity of dollars and hours donated. I hope that before you leave, that many of you will fill out that volunteer form. If you don't do it today, then mail it back to us. And Master Gardeners, if I did not designate you personally, please stand at the exit when the program is over so that you can collect these from folks. I have always believed in goodness. I've always believed in making things happen. On a personal note, I will share with you that when it was time for me to graduate from high school, some told me there's no way you can go to college. There weren't silver spoons at my house. But I believe in anything with faith and hard work. I went to the bank myself and borrowed $25 for my application fee. So, it was with that same spirit that I approached you about developing these gardens. When something good is going to happen, God makes a way. And God has winked at me so many times in the process of doing this project. Just one person after another has come forward to say, what can I do? let me do so and so. As Lee mentioned, Suzanne Gerard's donation of the rocking chairs on Mr. McGregor's porch, and the art students doing those. A special thank you to Katie Deal and to Sandra for being here today. And Sandra has a commitment in Atlanta, I think at 11:45. Should the state patrolman be checking the state patrolman as they go? Sandra has long been a good friend. I confess that I often have trouble remembering that she is the First Lady. I appreciate and respect her so much for everything she has done. But she's just my friend. Before going to the mansion where everything's done for her, she had laundry piled up in the middle of her dining room table, just as some of you and I did. A very generous person who epitomizes the generosity of so many of you. Lee, any reminders? Oh, this beautiful storyteller's chair was donated by some dear friends who are here. This is my prayer group of 10 women, and Sandra happens to be a part of that group. And this will have a plaque on it saying, in honor of our First Lady. We envision lots of stories being told here, and some of you this morning have already said to me, oh, I'd love to come and tell a story, read a story. We need docents, gardeners, and readers. The beautiful artwork in the garden, Lee has already alluded to several. All of the animals, with the exception of one turtle, were painted by Melissa Murphy, who's one of our special ed coordinators. I didn't know Melissa until 3 months ago. She was driving by, stopped to chit-chat, and said, oh, by the way, I paint if you'd like me to do anything. One person after another continues to make this a magical place. I want to leave you with a reminder of Rachel Carson's words at the bottom of your program. Will, would you come and read those? And then we'll close out the program with Bruce Fields and the children coming back to sing, and you all stand to sing with them, and then enjoy walking around to see all the elements of the garden.
I know you think I know those words by heart, but I'll need your program. If a child is to keep his inborn sense of wonder, he needs the companionship of at least one adult who can share it, rediscovering with him the joy, excitement, and mystery of the world we live in. Rachel Carson. How about a round of applause for my friend, Kathy Levin. We will close, if you will, with our wonderful children who, you guys have been incredible. When I was in kindergarten, I couldn't have sat here that long for $1 million, and you guys are just amazing. But they're going to sing, get up and mill around, and again, our hope and our prayer is that there are generations of youngsters that are able to come and take advantage of this beautiful space. Bruce, close us out.
He's got the wind and the rain, he's got the flowers and the trees, and he's got everybody here. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his wind and the rain. He's got the wind and the rain in his hands. He's got the wind and the rain in his hands. He's got the wind and the rain in his hands. He's got the whole world in his flowers and the trees. He's got the flowers and the trees in his hands. He's got the flowers and the trees in his hands. He's got the flowers and the trees in his hands. He's got the whole world in his. Everybody here. He's got everybody here in his hands. He's got everybody here in his hands. He's got everybody here in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Thank you all. Thank you, children. Wonderful day.
It's great. So cute. And this next garden is a sensory garden, so it's teaching.